Debate on vote number 17, Social Development Appropriation Bill.
Minister for Social Development.
Honorable Chairperson, and members of the portfolio committee.
Honorable members, please allow the minister to address us, please.
Chairperson and members of the Portfolio Committee on Social Development, MECs for Social Development here present, representatives of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, intersex, and queer sector in the public gallery, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Honorable Chairperson, I rise to present budget vote number 17 of the Department of Social Development to this august House. From the onset, I would like to tender the apology of the Deputy Minister of Social Development, Ms. Henrietta Bukupane Zulu, who is unable to be part of this budget vote debate due to ill health. I spoke to her just before I came in here to wish her a speedy recovery. Honorable members, I would like to draw your attention to the scourge of violence that manifests itself in the brutal and barbaric killings of young lives full of potential like those of Courtney Peters, Karabo Mukwena, Sinokolo Mafevuga, Nonki Smaus, Yudi Simelane, Zoliswa Nkonyana, Anele Poisons, Nombuiselo Nombeu, and countless other women, too many to mention in the time allocated to this debate. Violence is a disease of epidemic proportions that also features in intimate relationships. Victims experience violence at the very hands of people who are supposed to love and care for them. The UN estimates that 1 in 3 women is beaten or raped during their lifetime. We cannot continue to accept violence as a status quo in our society. This is at variance with the fundamental rights to life, freedoms, and security of our people as enshrined in our Constitution. We must commit ourselves to building a safer and rape-free communities by promoting a rights-based society wherein we normalize substantive equality between men and women and celebrate the fact that there are differing sexual orientations, gender identities, and where we normalize substantive equality between black and white. We must all, including members of this House, irrespective of race, color, and our political affiliation, put our hands on the deck to make our homes and communities safer for all, because issues of violence against women, children, and older persons cut across, especially for women and children, including the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and intersex queer people. Collectively, we all need to condemn all forms of violence, including hate crimes and corrective rape perpetrated against the LGBTIQ community. Our sisters and brothers cannot live in a constant fear in their own homes and communities. It cannot be that one section of the community, driven mainly by patriarchal tendencies and chauvinism, claim the right to subjectively determine what acceptable sexual orientation or gender identity is. Together with the LGBTIQ sector and other departments, including justice and constitutional development, as well as police, we will embark on a national campaign and community dialogues. On this note, allow me to acknowledge the presence of representatives of the sector who have joined us here today, including families of Yudi Simelane and Nonki Smaus. The two women were tragically killed for being lesbians. We also acknowledge the presence of 12 young learners who have joined us here today as part of Take a Girl Child to Work initiative. We need to do more to tackle violence and gender-based violence in particular, so that
Honorable Minister, I'm disturbing you precisely because I want to request our invited guest not to get involved in the debate in the chamber. Your participation is just to listen and enjoy the debate. Don't clap hands or boo or show any other sign that disturb the overall running of Parliament. But listening, I think we must participate fully on that. But don't clap hands, please, honorable members. Assist us to that.
we need to do more to tackle violence and gender-based violence in particular, to protect our children, to enable them to fulfill their potential. And we must do it now. And we must all say now, violence must come to an end, and get committed to fighting violence, then blaming. Throughout this year, we mark the centenary of the birth of Comrade OR, as President Oliver Reginald Tambo was affectionately known. President Jacob Zuma declared 2017 as the year of OR Tambo under the theme, Unity in Action, Together Moving South Africa Forward. We join the peoples of the world to celebrate and reflect on his selflessness, courage, and indomitable spirit. Comrade OR led in ANC during the difficult years of the liberation struggle. We will continue to reflect on his legacy. Comrade OR was a unifier and a diplomat extraordinaire who established the ANC in exile and mobilized key regional and international alliances, including the frontline states, the OAU, the Commonwealth, and the UN, to boycott and impose sanctions against the racist and oppressive apartheid regime. Chairperson, we draw on the rich legacy of Comrade OR to drive our actions today. It is President OR Tambo who, in his address on the occasion of the 25th anniversary of the OAU in Arusha, Tanzania, in 1983, prophetically declared, and I quote, "As we mark this historic occasion of the 25th anniversary of the OAU Liberation Committee and its 50th session, and cast our eyes west into the Caprivi Strip and Namibia, and across the Limpopo into South Africa, we see the tree of freedom rising in all its magnificence, watered by the blood of our own peoples and nourished by the victories that the peoples of our continent have scored during last quarter of the century. There will be no 50th anniversary of the Liberation Committee to celebrate, and to no 100th session, because long before then, we shall all meet in liberated Namibia and liberated South Africa, together to attend to the urgent question of the rebuilding of our continent as a zone of prosperity, peace, and friendship among the people," close quote. Indeed, 11 years after Comrade OR's poignant speech, our country began the long walk to freedom from her painful past. Today, while we acknowledge that the national task of building a humane, envisaged by Comrade Humane Society, envisaged by Comrade O.R. Tambo, and espoused in the NDP, is still work in progress. We take great pride in our achievements. Whatever the challenges that we may face, we have every reason to be proud of who we are today and to be proud of liberating oppressors and to be proud of enabling oppressors to talk about human rights. In 1994, the masses of our people exercised their civic duty and committed to join hands with the ANC to build a society in which Comrade O.R. said, I quote, "There will be neither whites nor blacks, just South Africans, free and united in diversity." In a tribute to his comrade and friend, the first democratically elected president of the Republic of South Africa, Nelson Mandela, said, I quote, "I say that O.R. has not died because the ideas for which he sacrificed his life can never die. I say that Oliver Tambo has not died because the ideals of freedom, human dignity, and a colorblind respect for every individual cannot perish," close quote. Vala umlomo ngoba wawungekho. Honorable members, the department received a budget of 160 billion rand in the financial year. Of this amount, 151 billion rand goes directly to the social assistance program. Chapter 2 of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa contains the Bill of Rights, a human rights charter that protects the civil, political, and social economic rights of all people. Section 27 sets out a number of rights with regard to health, including reproductive rights and access to food and water. Section 27 also enshrines the right to social security. For this reason, we do not take it lightly that social grants are a lifeline and often the only means of survival for many vulnerable people in our country. The provision of social grants is a fulfillment of a constitutional obligation of making freedom and democracy more meaningful for the poor and vulnerable and Africans in particular. We have over the past years made great strides in improving SASSA's efficiency and its capacity to deliver on this constitutional mandate. It is therefore no wonder that within the space of 10 years since its inception, many countries across Africa, and in fact across the globe, have come to recognize our social assistance program as amongst the best in the world. Let me again take this opportunity to reiterate my sincere apology to all South Africans and social grant beneficiaries in particular for the confusion created around the expiry of the contract for the payment system. Futhi sithanda ukuthatha leli thuba ukubonga singaphezi kubona bonke abantu bakithi abamukela imali yesibonelelo sikahulumeni ngokusilalela uma sithi imali yabo angeke imiswe. Izangoma zembumba zaseyithe izomiswa. Last year, we committed to continue paying social grants beyond 31 March 2017, as we have done consistently without fail in the 23 years of our democracy. The doomsayers' predictions that some wished for did not happen. True to our slogan, on the 1st April all eligible beneficiaries received the right social grant at the right time and place. We will continue to do so, njalo. Chairperson, allow me once more to say without any fear of contradiction that we accept the supervision of the Constitutional Court. Equally, we accept the oversight role of Parliament through the Portfolio Committee on Social Development on SASSA's change plan of finding a cost-effective and long-term solution on the payment of social grants. To this end, we have moved swiftly to incorporate the Constitutional Court orders into the annual performance plan of SASSA, starting in the current financial year and over the MTF period. As we transition into the environment where SASSA takes over this function, we will continue to seek the assistance of industry expertise in various fields. The Interministerial Committee on Comprehensive Social Security, under the leadership of President Jacob Zuma, will provide the necessary political impetus to deal with the long-standing issues relating to the social security reform proposals, including social grant payment solution. We are pleased to inform this August House that we have begun engagements with other organs of state towards phasing out the services of the current service provider. We plan to phase in the services of the new service provider by November this year. This will give us enough time to ensure a seamless transition when the current contract becomes an end in March 2018. Chairperson, nami ngiyathanda ukubuza ukuthi why bengalungisi ama-toilet la eGugulethu. Last year, we committed to release the discussion paper on social security reform, proposals for public consultations. We tabled the comprehensive social security discussion paper at NEDLEC in November 2016. The policy proposals include, amongst others, the introduction of a mandatory cover for retirement, gradual elimination of means tests for some grants, expansion of unemployment insurance benefits, alignment with the National Health Insurance, as well as the common interface for social security beneficiaries. These proposals seek to build a comprehensive social security system that promotes solidarity and social cohesion as per Chapter 11 of the National Development Plan. Honorable members, data security and integrity are essential aspects of our envisaged payment solution. In this regard, we are building a robust data governance platform to protect beneficiary data and information. In this regard, proof of life and authentication using biometrics remains our priority. Akukho late ngoba namanje khona bacabanga ukuthi i-apartheid yayi right. In line with our commitment to this House last year, work is already underway to implement identity and access management biometrics for staff and beneficiaries. Over and above these measures, we intend to amend the Social Assistance Act in this financial year with a view to introduce, amongst others, a funeral and savings fund for social grant beneficiaries. We take to heart the support of the Portfolio Committee on our decision to appeal the recent judgment of the North Gauteng High Court against SASSA and the department regarding illegal and immoral deductions from the accounts of social grant beneficiaries. Sizamile ukulwa nokuhlukunyezwa kwabantu bakithi abantulayo ukuthi izimali zabo zingathathwa ngaphandle kolwazi nemvume yabo. Angeke siphele amandla singakayinqobi lempi. Bayazi abanye baqala lento kwaZulu Natal iseyinkinga namanje for uhulumeni. The social sector remains in the forefront of the ANC government's radical economic transformation. It is time to speed up the improvement of the quality of life of our people. It is time for our people to have a fair share of the national wealth they toiled for. Over 3 centuries to claim the bigger stake in their own country, our people have waited long enough for economic emancipation. In the last financial year, the department and its entities procured over 300 million rand worth of goods such as school uniforms, nutritious foods, blankets, and dignity packs from local cooperatives. Whilst this looks impressive, it is not enough. We need a greater transformation of the public sector supply chain management so as to ensure that small business and cooperatives benefit from government procurement spend, with specific focus on women and youth-owned business initiatives as directed by President Jacob Zuma. In this regard, we will continue our collaboration with Department of Small Business Development. A case in point is the Gauteng River local municipality, the province of Bokone Bophirima, with a population of 51,000. Of this number, 41,000 are social grant beneficiaries, with a total value of 21 million rand a month. Despite this huge investment, the municipality remains one of the poorest in the country, as half of the money, if not all of it, is spent in Rustenburg, which is 64 kilometers away from this place. Gauteng River, you cannot even pronounce Gauteng. It is for this reason that we have, without hesitation, heeded the clarion call for the radical socio-economic transformation agenda. We intend to use government investment in the social assistance program to stimulate local economic development by way of introducing alternative pay points and local health shops. We cannot always measure our nation's progress by a number of exclusive golf courses for the rich. Comrade Harry Gwala reminded us that if we fail in executing this task, cooperatives which mainly benefit women will continue, and I quote, to serve as fronts or servants of other established businesses of those people who go to their golf courses whilst our people are working. Sithi sekuyisikhathi sokuthi njengohulumeni kufanele sisebenzisane nezinhlangano zomama abakhiqiza izidingo ezifana nokudla nemfaniswano yabantwana besikole. Futhi siyazi ukuthi ngezinsuku zokuhola izimpesheli nangezinkathi zokugoma abantwana emtholampilo osomabhizinisi bayazuza. Sithi nalamathuba okuzuza awanikwe omama nabantu bakithi abamukela izibonelelo zikahulumeni. On a related matter, we have expanded the household food and nutrition security program from 167 to 212. And on a yearly basis, we have been providing nutritious food to 6 million people per year. And the total budget for this is 98 million rand. Honorable Chairperson, let me now turn the attention of the House to the social welfare program. The Ministerial Committee on the Review of the White Paper for Social Welfare, under the able leadership of Professor Vivian Taylor, made a number of recommendations. Key amongst these is the demand and supply model for social service practitioners. resource allocation in terms of personnel and finances, establishment and enforcement of simple, effective, and standardized data system, as well as analysis of the developmental social welfare trends. Based on the review proposals, we are currently amending the white paper into Social Development Act. In February this year, Cabinet approved the Social Service Practitioners Policy, and we will table the bill before Parliament in the current financial year. The bill seeks to regulate all social service practitioners under one act and proposes measures to support emerging professionals in the sector. This year alone, we will absorb 556 social work graduates who qualified through our scholarship. We are the first to acknowledge that this number is very low compared to the number of graduates that are waiting for placements. And we are going to continue talking and consulting with the Treasury. To date, we have produced 13,262 qualified social workers. 9,573 have been absorbed into full-time employment, mainly by the department, NGOs, and other sector departments. The sector has just emerged from a 5-week labor unrest, which caused untold misery to many who depend on our services. Regrettably, this resulted in the loss of 2 lives in Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal provinces. Once again, we convey our deepest condolences to the bereaved families. We remain hopeful and committed that the current negotiations will finally culminate into collective agreement that balances the interests of the beneficiaries of our services and our core workforce. Comrade OR reminded us that, and I quote, "A nation that does not care of its youth has no future and does not deserve one," close quote. Unfortunately, I can't quote Fairfoot. It is against this background that we initiated the annual National Youth Camp to instill patriotism, nation building, and proud national identity amongst our young people. To date, we have reached over 5,000 young people across race, ethnicity, gender, class, language from all 9 provinces. It is worth noting that our investment in the social assistance program and other initiatives, such as Isibindi, have consistently vindicated our commitment and passion to improve the quality of lives of our people. 188,687 who sat for their matric examinations were beneficiaries for the social assistance program. Of this number, more than 80% obtained bachelor's and diploma pass, and that's an investment. Their impressive performance vindicates our call for exemption of social grant beneficiaries from the National Student Financial Aid Scheme means test to further their studies. In 2013, we declared early childhood development a public good, focusing on the crucial first 1,000 days of the child, because research shows that the right nutrition during the first 1,000 days from gestation creates a profound impact on the child's ability to grow, learn, thrive, and a lasting effect on a country's health and prosperity. We remain committed to the expansion of the ECD services, focusing in the most rural and deprived communities. As we said last year in this August House, during our budget vote, zibanjwa zisemaphuphu. And therefore, i-budget yethu, ewu 812 million rand over MTEF, sizoyisebenzisa emakhaya. And kakhulukazi nalaba aba conditionally registered, futhi sesiyenzile ne framework. Honorable members, non-profit organizations continue to play an important role in our sector. And that is why we are training them. What is important is to ensure that they are capacitated and they are able to account and that they work where our people are. But also, NTA has established a good relationship with civil society organizations. And that is why NTA is focusing on civil society organizations, building capacity, rendering social development services, including ECD and cooperatives. To date, we have trained more than 400,000 civil society organizations. And asiwa training nje siwashiye, siyawa incubator. I-project Nikonzo isiyenze saya kuma communities amaningi kakhulu. Ama services wethu siwa provider at the doorstep. This year, sizoya kuma ward financial year angaphezulu kwa 450. And part of our interventions, sizobheka kakhulu, siqinise community-based organizations ezifocuse ku HIV and AIDS. Sikwenzelani logo, sikwenza ngoba sincedwe kakhulu i-German Development Bank ukuthi kube nama center azobhekela izinto zomphakathi. Sezikhona ke izakhiwo eLimpopo, KwaZulu Natal naseBukoni Buphirima. Okunye okulandelayo, uhulumeni useya ukuwaqeda wonke ama province ngokulwa neindaba zezidakamizwa nokuphuza utshwala. If we are to stop the scourge of alcohol and substance abuse ravaging our country, we need to start at a family level and focus more on prevention. Ngakungcono ukuba nihleka kanjena nihleka indaba kaHelen Zille. We will embark on the review of the National Drug Master Plan in the current financial year. We call on all members of this House to join us because this will kill our nation. Siyathanda ke ukubonga bonke sebenzisana nabo. Kakhulukazi abeza ekommitini. Kanye futhi nama officials wethu esinawo lana aka SASSA, NTA, then nengangalala social development. Noma ba nomunye futhi ofuna ukuzosibheka noma iskopa noma ubani angeza honorable. Ngiyathanda ukubonga ama officials ukuthi noma sekunzima kuba khona laba abafuna ukugaina ngokuthi si divided. Bathi basibonile sikhuluma kayi5 today. Basibonile sihamba sonke because bona I-interest yabo ukuthi xatshanwe nje kuphela. Kanti thina sifundiswe kakhongolose ukuthi uyaqabana uxole qhube phambili nomsebenzi. Ngiyabonga kakhulu Hlala.
Siyabonga mhlonishwa kakhulu. Honorable Chapa.
Mhlali ngaphambili ndikunika imbeko nozuko olukufaneleyo malungu endlu ngokubanzi zindwendwe zethu zonke esizihloniphileyo kuba indwendwe ziyabukwa. Makhosikazi oMzantsi Afrika, ulutsha lwethu amaqobokazana ngalala emzini kufithokazi, ndinibulisa namhlanje ngosuku lwezwekazi lase-Afrika, inzwakazi negugu lethu. Mphathiswa wesebe lophuhliso loluntu, umama uMadlamini noogxa bakhe bonke abakhoyo, izigqeba zonke ezibizwa ngokuba zii-portfolio committee eziyinxalenye yendlu yowiso-mthetho. Ndiphakamisa umnqwazi kuni nonke ngolu suku silunikiweyo. Sele libuyile ke ithuba lokuba kwakhona size kule ndlu yomthetho sizokudandalazisa iziphumo zokuphonononga kwethu imisebenzi yamasebe. Lo msebenzi ngumsebenzi oncedisa kakhulu ukuba njengabameli babantu sijonge ukuba imali ezikhutshiweyo namaphulo ebeqanjiwe ayakwazi uba yenzeka. Silapha ke namhlanje ukwenza lo msebenzi. Asizukwazi ukukhohlwa kuba singakwazi ukuxola kodwa singakwazi ukukhohlwa. Ukuba singakhohlwa zingabuya izinto ezimbi zibuyele kuthi kwakhona. Ndifuna ke ukuthi usuku lwanamhlanje ngeli xesha kanye lokuxoxa ngolu hlahlo lwabiwo mali lwesebe lophuhliso lwabantu, sikhumbule ukuba akukwazeki nanini na ukuba kubekho abantu ebenziwa ukuba bahlupheke, bangafani nabanye abantu, ukuze baphinde basetyenziswe ukuqoqa indlela zokubuyela kulawulo ebelukhona obelugenxa noluphume neziphumo zabantu abayi-17 million abahluphekayo. Kanti balunge kangaka nje bebephizolo. Ukuba aba bantu abazalwanga kule minyaka ingama-20 uphethe lo rhulumente, ufike benje bezizimba mgodi. Xa ndithetha nje sithe sa wonke uMzantsi Afrika kuba saphuma ngendlela sisiyawumba igolide simbela bona ukwenzela uba kuthi xa kunamhlanje babe ngcono kunathi. Kubalulekile into yokokuba ndibhekise kakhulu phaya koomama abangakwaziyo bona ukufikelela mphathiswa njengaba bafikeleleyo namhlanje. Kukho ababeleka abantwana bathwele iemele zamanzi kuba kwa bhajethi leyo yeminyaka yayingababali njengabantu abadinga amanzi. Sithetha nje namhlanje kukho abantu amakhosikazi abeleka abantwana athwele inyanda zenkuni ukwenzela uba kubaswe kufudumala endlini. Yonke loo nto kungokuba bona babengabalelwanga uba bangafumana umbane. Namhlanje sekukhalwa nge-load shedding ngokuba i-load inkulu ngezizathu zento okokuba lo mbane uske walayitela nongantweni nomva kocanga. Akuzufuneka singayazi indlala apha ivele khona kuba mphathiswa singangakwazi kuyichitha. Indlala le ivele kuba sasizihlalele kwelizwe lethu. Siphila ngendlela esiphila ngayo. Kwafika abanye ababehamba ngebhasi ehamba emanzini. Le bhasi yamanzi yathi yawubothula kweli lizwe baqala bathenga inkomo abazange nankomo kweli lizwe kodwa sesizithenga kubo namhlanje abazanga nankukhu kweli lizwe kodwa namhlanje zithengwa kubo abazanga namhlaba kulo kweli lizwe kodwa umhlaba ungakubo thina siqathwe emaplazini abo yintoni
Point of
yona
order,
le?
House Chair.
Le nkqubo ke besiyiphethe
Mhloni,
le nkqubo
mhlonishwa kune point of order this side.
House Chair, I'm rising.
Honorable members, please, let us not drown the speakers. Let us allow her to hear what are the issues. Honorable Van.
House Chair, I'm rising on Rule 68, irrelevance. Can the honorable member stick to the budget vote of the department, please? She hasn't started yet with her speech.
Honorable members, honorable members, please. Honorable members, please. The honorable member is using the rule. The rule is very clear that the presiding officer can order the member to be relevant to the speech. Honorable Sihlalo, qhubeka nenkulumo yakho.
eyona ngxaki ingamandla kukuba izilonda zawufaka ityiwa bayavakalelwa abanikazi bazo yityiwa ke leyo kokuba akukho venkile kuthengiswa kuyo ipoverty eyenziwa namhlanje sibe nebudget yokunika abanye abantu ngenxa yento kokuba amathuba engalingani yaqhuba le nkqubo ihambe kakuhle kakhulu bangaphakama nje abantu besigqeba se-portfolio committee endiyikhokhelayo batsho into abayithandayo kodwa inkqubo ibicacile sikwazile ukuyifumana into yokokuba le budget ne-APP yayo esele iqhutywa isigwebo sejaji sifike selihambile ngaphambili kwafuneka sisebenzise isolontya lomthetho wepalamente ukuba kwenziwe isihlomelo safakwa ke isihlomelo saze savotelwa saba yinxalenye yale nkqubo yanamhlanje umbuzo othi uCPS uza kuphuma na awunako ukuvela ngoba isebe libeke kwi-APP layinika nama-time frames okwesibini inkqubo eza kulandelwa kuyo yonke into endululwe ijaji kambe siyababulela bebehamba nenkundla beyincedisa kuba bekufuneke into yokokuba apho kugqithizwe khona ungenelelo lwejaji nenkundla zomthetho yinto yakhona uba bekungekho njalo ngezingekho kwazona sawukhumbula into yokuba le mali izawuvela phi na le mali yokwenza yonke imisebenzi ebekwe ijaji kungenxeni okokuba ibihleli khona ibudget yokwenza ukuba uSASSA atransforme kuphela nje into esingabonanga ngasonye ngayo kukuba kuzawukwenziwa ntoni na yangenelela ijaji siyavumelana ukuba izawuqhutywa njani na wena zungula ichele ogada iziphene ugade izilonda wenze kube khona impethu xola ngoba ayizukwenzeka loo nto akuzuba kukho ugqobhoza into esingayiphakamisa kule ndlu siyalibulela kakhulu isebe libe nazo impendulo ezicacileyo nezilungileyo kuwo onke amalungu ukuba ngaba anyanisekile xa esenza umsebenzi wawo Okwesibini, siyawabulela amalungu ebephonononga, ebebuza imibuzo enzulileyo nemibuzo efunekayo azinikwa impendulo. Sisendleleni. Umhlali ngaphambili. Sizwe ngokubanzi le nkampani uzawukhutshwa iziniki maxabiso ezizawukwenza into yokuba bonke abanomdla wokushishina kule meko sikuyo bafake izicelo zabo, izawubhengezwa iviwe nguwo wonke umntu. Apha ku-Okthobha ngokuqinisekileyo kuzaba kuqaliwe ukuthatha eminye imisebenzi ye-CPS isiza ngaphakathi ku-SASSA. Sibona nje ngoDisemba le nkampani iyawuthi ichongwe phakathi kwezo nkampani iyawuba seyiqala upilot ukwenzela into yokuba abagade icrisis yesibini ze bafumana ivoti bangabi nalo elo thuba kuba iyawuba seliqalile ukupilota. Mawuze nje unyaka umhla uqala kanyaka mali sesingenile abantu bakuthi bawuhlala bexhamla ilungelo labo elalelwa ngabantu belilizwe. Eli lungelo laligushiwe lihleli kubantu abathile. Lento yemali yokunika abantu abahluphekileyo yayihleli ngapha kwicandelo elithile eline working class ethile nabahlolokazi abacacileyo kunabanye abethu ngelixesha bedla udaka ngomlomo. Lo mba kaSASSA iyabonakala mhlali ngaphambili into yokuba ke lamasebe ajongene nokwenziwa kwendlela zorhulumento makakawajonge kakuhle ezindawo zithi ingaba amandla omntu ekuthiwa nguDG namandla ekuthiwa ngumphathiswa anjani ukwenzela into yoba kuqondisiswe lo mgca umfiliba umncinanana onika amandla kumphathiswa wesebe namandla kumlawuli wesebe ngokolawulo lukarhulumente. Mayikiqwalaselwe le thin line ukwenzela into yoba nalamaqumrhu abucala amandla ka-CEO umntu ke kuthiwa ngu-chief executive abonakala amandla akhe angakanani kumandla ka-executive authority. Kungathi kwawuba khona umonakalo iintolo zonke zibheke kumphathiswa kuba umphathiswa engewe-political party ethile kusoske kusetyenziswe lo nxeba ukuhlasela loo party ilawulayo. Ndifikele ekutheni lo mcimbi ekuthiwa ijaji eliphakamileyo lenkantolo likwazile ukuba makuqhutyekwe nokufaka abantu bethu etyaleni. Noko lo mba simxhasile umphathiswa nesebe lakhe mabanyukele kwinkundla engentla ngoba le mali ithathwe kubantu yayirhafu yelizwe ukuzinceda abantu abahluphekayo hayi ukuba iphinde ibuyiselwe ngezikweleti. Umzekelo ophilayo, a lady from PE has shown through a research that
Honorable member, please, time is over.
Thank you very much. Isibongo mntwana, sibongo nimolwe.
Ngiyabonga sihlalo. Ngaphambi ukuthi ngiqale inkulumo yami after that memorial lecture that we've just heard, I would like to ukuzwelana nemindeni nabazali babantwana namantombazana nabesifazana abasishiyile emhlabeni sisho ukuthi lokho akukuhle kakhulu nanokuthi futhi abantu besifazane basenkingeni basenkingeni kule lizwe lethu. Ngakho ke sithi sizwelane nabo kakhulu. Chairperson, budget vote we are debating today is meant to facilitate social development department's commitment to social transformation. The department continues to state that it endeavors to create a better life for the poor, the vulnerable, and the excluded people in our society. But recent, almost unbelievable developments in this department stand in stark contradiction to this noble commitment and endeavor. And the actions and behavior of the minister whose budget we are expected to support today show no commitment at all to the goals that we've talked about. This is the same minister, by the way, tasked with the protection of the poorest of the poor, whose preferred place of residence is the Oyster Box Hotel, but who insists that South Africans can survive on 753 rand. And this is the same minister who stands at the helm of a social
Chair.
security agency which
Order,
has
Chair.
notched up more than 1 billion irregular expenditure.
Honorable
Yeah.
Masango, a little bit.
No, Chair,
Okay.
no, Chair, the point of order, I wonder if Chair. No, I was just checking whether, Chair, do you have a breathalyzer for those members who are just drunk there at the back there? Because they're disturbing you, can't hear anything, they make a lot of noise.
Honorable Kopan. Thank you. Take the floor.
No, Chairperson, on a point of order. That honourable member just referred to all the members here as drunk. He needs to apologise and withdraw.
Honorable Khatebe. Honorable Khatebe. Just hold on, honorable members. Honorable.
No, Honorable Chairperson, I withdraw the word drunk, but they are intoxicated because they went to the bar. It's a fact.
Honorable. Please, honorable members, let us not waste time. I've noted to Honorable Carter, just hold on. Honorable Chair. Honorable Hateb, if you are withdrawing, please withdraw unconditionally. Please do that.
I withdraw unconditional, Chair.
Thank you very much.
This is the same minister. This is the same minister who stands at the helm of a social security agency which has notched up a more than 1 billion rands worth of irregular expenditure. We need only to recall the run-up to the expiry of the illegal and irregular contract between CPS and the department's entity SASSA on 31 March 2017 to be reminded of Minister Dlamini's rank incompetence and her lack of empathy for the task as minister. The DA consistently called for action or at least clarity on what plans the department and SASSA had to move the distribution of social grants in-house, but our calls fell on defiant and disdainfully deaf ears. Yet she single-handedly defied all logic and rule of law to ensure that the irregular and illegal contract was extended, despite earlier on-record assurances that SASSA would be prepared to take over the distribution of social grants on 1 April 2017. While we still demand to know what the minister's well-paid work streams have been doing all these years to institutionalize the system, we will be scrutinizing the department SASSA's progress towards its promise of taking over payment of social grants on 1st April 2018. We are not holding our breath, though. The minister's blocked efforts of SASSA's officials to adhere to the Constitutional Court order 3 times and losing a DG in the process. Even her own staff can't work with her, it seems. The minister cannot, therefore, be trusted with the budget of this department. The minister's inconsistency and chaotic style of leadership can be demonstrated in a much publicized 316 million rand that was paid to CPS in 2014 for enrolling more grant recipients and beneficiaries than it claimed it was contracted to do. First, the minister presided over the decision to oppose a corruption wash application to review and set aside the decision to pay the money, only to decide recently to withdraw 2 years later its costly opposition to the legal challenge. This is all at taxpayers' expense. She has now claimed that it will cost 6 billion rand for SASSA to take over grants payments. But neither she nor the CEO of SASSA could explain how that figure came about. How then, ladies and gentlemen and chairperson, can we entrust a budget to a minister who has virtually put the department and its entities under administration? In keeping with our commitment to care for the poor and vulnerable, we will not stop to make louder calls for the Minister of Social Development to step down, seeing that she mysteriously survived the midnight reshuffle by President Zuma. We commit that in a DA-led government in 2019, this department will ensure it prioritizes the people for whose care it was established. That is, the poor, the vulnerable, and the excluded of our society. South Africa's vulnerable and excluded deserve better. And the DA is the only political party that can ensure they get what they deserve. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Kaula.
Ngibonge sihlalo ngaphambili ngizodlulisa nami ukuzwelana nalemndeni ethe yashiwa ithandwa zawo ngizwakalisa ngokuthi bakithi keniyekeni ukuhlukumeza abantu besifazane nolindo kuhle akakoda lana ona 14 months obulewe ubaba wakhe ngiyacela sangathi ngempela ngake kusukunyelwe lezi ikhele munqa ezibhizi ukuhlukumeza izingane njengami ke njenge EFF hayi cha minister hayi asamsana nale budget umbuzo wami wokuqala nje minister kunabantu ababekhala njalo bethi kuthiwa ngabo badonselwa izimali zabo zama airtime ogesi abanye uthola ukuthi unezingane ezu2 uholela ingane eyi1 ngifuna ukwazi ukuthi nithini ngabo labo bantu bawubuyelwa nini ngabo imali yabo ngeke ngempela savumela nalesabelo sibe sazi kahle ukuthi ungqongqoshe uzosebenzisa yona le mali ukuqasha ama bodyguard omndeni wakhe waphinde athenge ngayo izimoto ekubeni kunemindeni eminingi engenabazali ingane othola ukuthi azinakho ngisho ukudla ngisho izindlu ngakutshela ngisho enanda zikhona abantu bakithi badinga ukuthuthukiswa kwezomnotho bakwazi ukuba nenhlala kahle bezimele ukuba beyidinga impesheni ukuthi ibasize okwamanje ukuba uhulumeni uzimisele ngokubathuthukisa bezobeka phambili lokho okulandelayo ukubuyisa umhlaba wabantu bakithi ngaphandle kwenkokhelo ukufaka ngaphansi kukahulumeni izizinda zomnotho njengamabhange nezimayini ukuthuthukisa amabhizinisi ukuze kwande amathuba emsebenzini ukuqeda kwamathenda wona athuthukisa idlanzana abantu beqashwe ngqo nguhulumeni ukunika abantu bakithi imfundo yamahala eqotho eqhakambisa amagugu ethu njengesizwe esimnyama hayi onxiwa nkulu minister axatshwana mfethu ukuthi kuyasetshenzwa la uhulumeni obusayo njengamanje oholwa ANC uvumela isimo lapho khona abantu bakithi abayizisulu zobandlululo baqhubeke babe izibukeli zomnotho wezwe abanalo umhlaba wabuhlukumeza imali uqonda ukuthi abantu wonke imnotho khona kulelizwe abantu bakithi abakwazi kuba yiphathi bagcina bebukela njengoba nibona imayini lana ke ezimpeshenini abantu niyazi ukuthi imost yabantu la eSouth Africa abantu sekugcwele intandano nabafelokazi nemsebenzi ayikho le mali eniholela abantu ingane thina ngokwethu njenge EFF saphakamisela ukuthi umuntu akathola u3200 aphinde futhi nakubatwana abanikeze
Order, honorable
300
members.
kuphinde kuthi nesondlo
Order,
sabatwana
honorable members.
kube u800 kuthi laba bantu ama veteran wona athole 2400 imali yalabo abaqapha labantu abagada labantu mhlambe kukhona umuntu ogula emphakathini ababasizayo ababanikeza u3200 because izinto ziyabiza eNorthwest e120 kunabantu lapha abakhubazekile abaregistile abanayo yonke into laba bantu bayahlukunyezwa abatholi lutho uxhaso kugovernment minister kunalapha la eWorcester kuWard 5 kunomuzi ogcwele abantu abakhubazekile labo bantu bonke abanama wheelchair abanalutho endosonhlala kahle abayi kubona ugogo Majola ngakhuluma kudala ngaye uzethi masepitshizwe yindlu lani yakhona ke nejumbana kanjalo esiwa 28 ugogo wakhona usingafa noma yini yindlu ngenxa ukuthi la iANC ifuna ukuya ngoba sekushoniwe siyobukisa uCPS asiudingi uCPF akuthatha amabhange ala kube yiwona azonikeza imali kube yona holela abantu
Yabonga ma.
angaqedi kodwa bakithi
Yabonga isikhathi siphelile.
kodwa uyasisiza nina
Yabonga. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
angqongqoshe lilonke nje
The honorable van der Merwe.
kodwa bekufanele bishafu
Take your seat, Honorable Kaola. Take your seat, Assembly Toch. Thank you.
nawe ngikuthembe kanjena kususho lonto futhi manje
Thank you very much.
ngiyayibuzela
Just take your
nje
seat.
cha ngiyayibuzela
Take your
yazi
seat.
akekho umuntu engimhlonipha njengawe
Yabonga.
ungiqukulisa izihlalo manje
Asinike ilunga lapha isikhathi ukuthi akhulume.
usukudlala ngamfethu
Thank you, Chairperson. Honourable House Chairperson, let me take this opportunity to pay tribute to all those who have lost their lives in the most brutal and horrific manner in recent days. We mourn their loss and we honour their memory. As our economy grinds to a halt and poverty deepens, millions of South Africans rely on a grant. Without a grant, grandmothers would be unable to feed their grandchildren and pensioners would face despair. Thus, the IFP continues to support calls for an increase in grants for our most vulnerable citizens. But before we approve another budget for this department, we must do an honest assessment of this department's performance under the leadership of Minister Batabile Dlamini. As we stand here, we are engulfed by yet another wave of gender-based violence that is drowning our nation in horror and fear. Our women and children are facing war on our streets and in our homes. But the response from this minister and her department, the very custodian of our gender-based violence programs, has been lackluster at best. Yes, as the president of the ANC Women's League, this minister has been providing food to grieving families. But we don't need politics right now. We need leadership, we need united action, and we need political will to fight that crisis. And let me also pause here to say that we noticed the IFP that despite the fact that the ruling party again abused food parcels for votes, the people of Ngutu rejected their bribery. By taking the ANC's wards and winning 14 out of 17 wards, we now govern that municipality alone. We thank the people of Ngutu for trusting us and rejecting the ANC's food parcels. Chairperson, our fight against gender-based violence has got many obvious shortcomings. The Department of Social Development
Order, can we
recently...
lower our voices? Order. Is that the point of order?
Chairperson, exactly. The member is not sticking to the topic. Mayingakhethi le nto.
Thank you very much. That's not a point of order. Proceed.
On a
Honorable
point
van
of
der Merwe.
order, on a point of order, Honorable Chair.
Well, the truth
Chairperson,
hurts and food
Order.
parcels are dished out by SASSA.
Order, honorable members.
On a point of order,
On a point of order.
whilst we have appreciated the banter between both of the House, but can we refrain from frivolous points of order, especially from a chair of a committee, please?
Kunjalo,
Thank you
Mashasha.
very much. Proceed, honorable
Thank you,
member.
Chairperson. Chairperson, the Department of Social Development recently admitted that its integrated plan of action to fight gender-based
Honorable van der
violence...
Merwe, just a second. Is that a point of order, Honorable Deputy Chief Whip?
Honorable House Chairperson, Sihlalo wami lomuhle.
Order, can we hear the point
Lo
of order?
mhlonishwa uyenga sive sase South Africa. Azange kube nema food parcels eNquthu. Ufuna kusitshela ukuthi yena njengoba iIFP uwinile ba bribe abantu na.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable.
Chairperson,
Thank you. No, it's not a point of order. Can you proceed?
it's a point of debate. Let's continue. The Department of Social Development recently admitted that its integrated plan of action to fight gender-based violence has not been successful. The department's flagship gender-based violence call center is invisible. Far too few people know of its existence. NGOs protecting our women go unfunded, and this is simply not good enough. But these are not the IFP's only concerns. People with disabilities remain on the fringes of our economy, and their rights are often disregarded, not protected. Our foster care system is not coping. But while our children face extreme danger on a daily basis, at least the minister's children has received extraordinary protection. 3.5 million rand was spent on private security for her children and her spokesperson's children. And that's not where the spending madness ended. This department blew 1.1 billion on irregular and wasteful expenditure on crashed cars, traffic fines, and unused hotel bookings. Yet we are now asked to pay another 1.3 million for the minister's new fancy car. All of these wasted resources could have gone to assisting our fight
Point
against
of order,
substance abuse,
Chairperson.
which remains critically
Point of order,
underfunded.
Honorable
House
van der Merwe,
Chairperson.
just a second.
According to Rule
Another point.
85, if a member wishes to bring any improper or unethical conduct on the part of another member, he must do so through a substantive motion.
Chairperson, the matter is before SCOPA. Can I continue?
Order, order, honorable members. Order, honorable members. The matters that have been raised, Honorable Mabaso, is matters that have been talked to and discussed even in the committee level. And we expect that order. We expect that the minister will respond to those issues when it's get the opportunity to deal with them. Thank you. Just round up in a minute.
I've still got a minute left. 1 minute. House Chairperson, this year the SASSA Gate crisis shocked us all. It took the Constitutional Court to resolve the crisis, compelling the Chief Justice to call the Minister and her team's handling of the matter as incompetent. But this self-created crisis is far from over. For as long as the very company that steals from the most vulnerable in our society through illegal deductions continues to pay the grants, the crisis is far from over. For as long as we don't know why the minister was hell-bent on extending an illegal and unlawful contract, the crisis is far from over. It will now take 5 years and another 6 billion rand for this department to be ready to pay out grants themselves. The Minister of Social Development has displayed poor leadership on critical issues facing her department. She has been found to be in contempt of court and in breach of her oath of office. We support this budget because it stands between life and death for many South Africans. But we continue to reject the manner in which you so recklessly execute your duties, Minister, and for that reason we cannot entrust you with this budget. I thank you.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Kubisa.
Angibonge sihlalo. Amalunga ahloniphekile lendlu. Asisho nje sihlalo ukuthi udaba lokuhlukunyezwa kwabesifazane nezingane ogogo bethu nezingane zethu nabazali bethu lolu daba olubi kuyaphuthuma ke kuba uhulumeni abambe igilamkhuba azibophe zivalelwe zibolele emajele ngoba ngeke silivume leli demoni lenzeka nje ezweni lakithi kuyihlazo. Sisho futhi okwesibili isihlalo ukuthi udaba lokwenyusa kwezibonelelo zabantu abadala nezingane udaba esolincoma ngoba into ebalulekile ngoba abadala bethu iningi labo babheka imindeni lapho abazali sebehambile emhlabeni bengasekho bebe nemindeni abayigada abakade izingane kunemindeni ke eminye ebhekwe izingane uhulumeni okufanele aqaphele ukuthi uyayinakekela ngempela. Then the Department of Social Development has an enormous task to provide sector-wide national leadership in social development through developing and implementing programs for the eradication of poverty and social protection amongst the poorest of the poor and most vulnerable and marginalized of our people. Currently, almost 17 million people rely on social grants for survival, and with our worsening economy, high population growth rate, and influx of foreign nationals into our country, we believe, as the National Freedom Party, that the strain on the department and its resources will increase significantly in the foreseeable future. To execute its mandate, the department has been allocated the enormous budget of 160.7 billion, of which the bulk is allocated to Program 2, which deals with social grants. Sengishilo kwesihlalo ukuthi ukukhula kwama-social grant into encomekayo, kodwa phela kufanele befundisa namakhono ukuze abantu bekwazi ukuyisiza bona. I will say, Chairperson, it would be remiss of us to ignore the impact of the recent SASSA debacle. Chairperson, the department has been shown to be lacking in fundamental constitutional values of lawful, transparent, and accountable governance. Grant payments account for almost 94% of the total budget allocated to the department, and a lapse of accountable and transparent governance in this program casts a huge credibility shadow over the entire department. Now the department must constantly report to the Constitutional Court, which was really unwarranted. Why did the department fail to do its task? That is the question we ask. As public representatives, we have a responsibility to ask ourselves whether the department can be trusted with the control over a massive budget of 151 billion, whether it has the capacity to discharge its mandate as it's supposed to be. Chairperson, we're in agreement with the observation of the recommendation of the Portfolio Committee contained in the report. In particular, we urge the department to pay heed to the recommendation that there should be a greater focus on initiative to decrease the cases of gender-based violence. Our country has been rocked during the past few weeks with an escalation of incidents of gender-based violence. And the National Freedom Party calls on the department to pull out all the stops and coordinate its programs in conjunction with other state departments to wipe this scourge once and for all. Siyothi ke ngoba sifuna ukuthi abantu basizakale sikuxhasele le budget kodwa ihambe yosebenza umsebenzi obalulekile.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Majeke.
Honorable Chairperson, Honorable Minister and Ministers around, honorable members. The United Democratic Movement supports the budget vote number 17 as usual. In celebrating Africa Day, we need to double our efforts towards creating a culture of a caring continent and the world in this regard. And as we pass this budget, South Africa has to evaluate the progress that has been made over the last 23 years in building this caring nation. In terms of pursuing this goal, the Department of Social Development has to play its important role, and it will be judged by society on how it treats the most vulnerable citizens. It is therefore wise to take advantage of this budget. The legislation and policies already available to ensure that ours is a caring community. In doing this, we need to listen to and learn from the people we serve, the vulnerable groups. The vulnerable people who this department is mandated to care for are often in a precarious state, mentally, physically, or both. They are often in anguish. The old, those living with illnesses and perhaps near death, those in depression and with a sense of despair, those living with disabilities. These are all people living in a most fragile state. The culture that this department has to deal with is that society easily dismisses and ignores as unproductive the gifts and the beauty of our most vulnerable members. And we do so at our own peril, dehumanizing ourselves. Of course, we must also be competent professionals, clear about our skills and limits, and willing to consult widely about those we serve. We need to cultivate a culture of caring where the importance of each person, caregivers, the recipients, is the primary value. The well-being of each individual should be upheld over efficiency, scheduling, meetings, or even standard of excellence. And to do so requires a shift in the focus from the job to be done to the well-being of the people that are being served. The needs of the most fragile individuals should be given priority, and this in itself will foster unity and transformation. We need to encourage caregivers and communities in general to enter into appropriate but real relationships with those they serve. If this courage is well received, it calls forth the powers of love in others and creates unity around us, the gift of the vulnerable to our nation. Let us use this budget and policy tools at our disposal and turn South Africa into a caring nation. Honorable Chairperson, in conclusion, we appreciate, Honorable Minister, the 400 social workers that apparently will be added into our communities. And we trust that they will definitely look into our elderlies, because our elderlies are still continuously being robbed when they go and change their social grants. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Carter.
Whoa, thank you, Chair. Chair, I just want to start off first. We've had a lot of comments today and people in the ANC benches making fun of the pink scarves. Now, I just want to explain what it is about. It is in support of a Think Pink International Missing Miners Day. So we are wearing it proudly. The establishment of SASSA resulted from a recommendation made by the Commission of Inquiry into a comprehensive social system of social security for South Africa, the Taylor Committee, but the Minister is not even listening. The South African Social Security Agency Act is clear that the SASSA was established to act eventually as the sole agent that would ensure the efficient and effective management, administration, and payment of social assistance, serve as an agent for the prospective administration and payment of social security, and to render a service relating to such payments. And Minister, no, it was not created to use taxpayers' money to buy votes with food parcels. It was not created for the purpose. And I have to say to you, the voters know that. They've just showed you all in Ngutu yesterday. So a whole new agency, SASSA, was established as far back as 2004 to exclusively effect the payments of grants. 14 years
Honourable
later,
members,
we know that SASSA
Can
has
we ensure that you don't
outsourced.
drown the speaker on the podium? Thank you.
Okay. 14 years later, we know that SASSA has outsourced the primary reason for which they were established. the paying of social grants. That SASSA is another element in the state capture project, but it has been marred by gross corruption in Epitude, and that it will take 10 billion and another 5 years to be in a position to do what it's supposed to do, according to you, Minister Dlamini. It seems that one must be tainted, half questionable ethically standing, but self-interest before the weak and infirm, and lack moral rectitude to be appointed to executive office by he who should never have been appointed to the office of a president. Despite having pleaded guilty to a total number of 245,000 rand in fraudulent travel expenses in the infamous Travelgate scandal, our illegitimate president elevated you, Minister Dlamini, to executive office. And more recently, we have seen a new gate, the Blue Light Family Escort Brigade Gate, costing the South African taxpayers millions to cart your children around. When and how will you be refunding the money? When and how will you be refunding the money? It is taxpayers' money, it's not the ANC's money. To paraphrase from SASSA judgment, this judgment is not an occasion to celebrate. To the contrary, it is necessitated by the extraordinary conduct of a Minister of Social Development that has placed the achievement and the rollout in jeopardy. The court and the country as a whole are now confronted with a situation where the executive arm of government admits that it is not able to fill its constitutional and statutory obligations. The office holder ultimately responsible for the crisis and the events that led to it, the person who holds executive political office, is you, Minister Dlamini. If you had any integrity, after that judgment, you should have tendered your resignation. Grants are paid from taxpayers' money, and it is not for ANC spaza shop under a different government and president, and under a new parliament committed to carrying out the duties and responsibilities. But we cannot support this vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Mkhotsi.
House Chair, Honorable Minister, Members of Parliament, our guest, Social Development Family, including its entities, Bakaye Chudumelang. And happy Africa Day to all of you. House Chair, allow me to quote one of the great leaders of the ANC, President O.R. Tambo, open quote, when he said, "The fight for freedom must go on until it's won, until our country is free, happy and peacefully, as part of the commune of men. We cannot rest," close quote. Indeed, ANC cannot rest. Chairperson, the ANC since adoption of Freedom Charter in 1995 has a vision of comprehensive social development strategy. And that will, oh, Chair, I need the protection.
Honorable members, honorable members. Honorable members, Honorable Mkhotsi wants an opportunity to debate. Can we allow her to debate as a brief? Thank you very much. As Honorable Hlengwa, can we give Honorable Mkhotsi an opportunity to debate?
Please.
Thank you very much. Agreed.
On a point of order, Chair.
Thank you very
With
much.
the most humble of respects, I really don't think it's fair for you to cast that aspersion. Everybody is talking here. Ipati liphuma nami ngoba nginjani.
Honorable Hlengwa.
Bonke laba yakho bonke.
Order, honorable members.
Honorable Carter, her entire speech
Order,
was
honorable
noise.
members.
But because she's on sort of this side of the house,
Honorable
she didn't say
Hlengwa.
anything. Now you're that side. Ipati liphuma, why?
Honorable Hlengwa.
I Sihlalo, no.
Order, 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 honorable members. Order. Honorable Hlengwa, I did not say that you are making noise. I just sought your support. That's all. Honorable Mkhotsi, can you proceed?
No, thank you, Chair. I stand here in support of hashtag no violence against women and children. To all South Africans, let us unite to end these barbaric attacks against women and children. Chair, the ANC since adoption of Freedom Charter in 1955, it had a vision of comprehensive social development strategy that will protect the poorest and the most vulnerable from the violence of poverty. It has to do this because of the consequences of colonialism, slavery, and apartheid that reduce people into beggars in the land of their birth. Subsequently, the policies have all developed in the vision of the Freedom Charter. Whatever the critics of the ANC may say, it is this government that ensure that social grants
Point of
were
order.
made.
Honorable Mkhotsi, just a second.
Point of order, Slan.
Mam Kaula.
Hayibo, kuyiqiniso lokhu ukuthi bathi lo honorable obuphumayo uyophuza utshwala.
Order, Honorable Makaola, can you take your seat?
Kodwa uzama ukuba discipline laba
Take your
bantu.
seat, Honorable Makaola.
Abangumsindo abahloniphi.
Honorable Kaula.
Bayathuka abantu ukuthi bophuza utshwala kodwa kube yibona ade bephuza
Thank you,
manje.
take your seat. Thank you, take your seat. Honorable members,
No, fanele
honorable members, can we just indicate that in this mini plenary, we must refer to one another in respectful terms only? I'm just requesting. Thank you very much. Proceed, Honorable Mkhotsi.
Thank you, Chair. The ANC is the only government that has ensured that the social grants were made available universally, not racially. That the children will be supported to ensure that hunger and malnutrition will be defeated. That the people with disability will be protected from the harshness of life and a society that care little about the disability. The ANC government has brought the measures to ensure that food security and the use of in-kind transfer to ensure service delivery to all the people. It's the ANC that has dealt with the issue of, in 1993, 1994, plus minus 4 million benefited out of 1994, 4 million people benefited in terms of the grant, which has amounted to 10 billion. But due to the increase of this, 17 million today are getting grants with a budget of 151 billion. That's what we call the decolonized of social protection in South Africa. The NDP Vision 2030 aims to give the effect of progressive realization of the MDG's Target 1, which is to eradicate poverty and extremely hunger to lower the cost of living for the people. We will all should agree that the grant in-kind support should be strategy, not alleviating poverty, but reducing inequalities that are facing the country. But they are not designed to eradicate this. They are a bridge of life from hunger, poverty, fragile, and abused to one of being sleeping peacefully, eat, stay warm, and are able to be productive in terms of life. The notion of safety net captured the vision very best to say the grant is like they are ensure nobody strive of hunger, exposed to the element, some that take their dignity. Along with free water and electricity, this grant are only thing that stand between the poor and most vulnerable in terms of the harsh rationalized capitalism that face us to apartheid. Whatever the problem that SASSA has, it is safe to say, despite to this generally, people has received their grant on 1st of April. You know, Honorable Wilson, there was no national disaster in the country, but we did see the long queues and the service delivery that the ANC has put in terms of its members. So there was no service delivery. So you must stop going to the media and threatening our people.
Members.
So thank you, Minister. There was
is only one
no
speaker at the
national
podium.
disaster. People were happy in receiving that. The ANC will ensure the following things in terms of monitoring SASSA. The government will deliver the grants to people on time, cost effectively through appropriate mechanisms that ensure interest and the beneficiary are prioritized. One of the opportunities of the current system has to open and creating a citizen bank. The ANC government will aggressively push the opportunity, ensuring the relationship between SASSA and Post Office to be strengthened. The Minister of Telecommunication and Postal, in his debate, has emphasized that the South African Post Office is ready in terms of assisting SASSA in the payments of the grant. So it's what that we want, and it will be victory to all those workers. In terms of the committee will oversight the function of SASSA, which is the Committee of Social Development. It's not started here, the issue of insourcing of SASSA. It started in 2014 when we came into the committee with the 5th Parliament. But the committee will play the oversight in terms of the budget, the audit outcomes, the issue of the change management, vis-a-vis the issue of the new organizational structure that will happen in terms of SASSA. But not forgetting the labor rights and the multidisciplinary team, not the work stream, the multidisciplinary team that will take over the issue of SASSA. And the committee will deal with this. The insourcing of SASSA back into the department is a victory to the workers, especially in How, because they wanted this long ago. The insourcing of SASSA coming back into the department, it will assist in terms of job security because most of the people will get work. And it's this committee that will go on in terms of checking whether things are in line. And SASSA will come and report to us in terms of the way forward with it. As important, however, is the strategy that the government have lifted the people from the level of safety net and are able to earn the living. Growth and welfare, save their retirements. Unfortunately, in this regard, the long way is to go. Social development is only possible in the society where the economy is just and it's fair. At the moment, it's not the case. Any measures one chooses, poverty, inequality, unemployment, skills, business, land ownership, that the political economy of apartheid live in our land. To ensure that all South Africans are free from this terrible legacy of the most insignificant intervention of the ANC government that can make. Social development is to ensure that the radical economic transformation does take place, but not for the benefit of for the benefit of majority of South Africa. That includes our beneficiary in all. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Dudley.
Thank you, Chair, Honourable Minister, colleagues. The ACDP acknowledges that the Department's constitutional mandate speaks directly to the nation's priority focus on poverty, inequality and sustainable development, as it is tasked to develop and implement programs for the eradication of poverty, social protection and development of the poor, vulnerable and marginalized. And that 94% of the overall budget provides social assistance to eligible beneficiaries, the main focus being elderly persons with disabilities, and caregivers of children. And while old age and child support account for most of the spending, we note that grant in aid, an additional grant to grant recipients who are war veterans and those who require regular care from another person due to their physical or mental condition, has grown, in fact, the most. The ACDP also notes DSD plans to increase child social grants for orphans that are in the care of extended family members, and this has been an oversight which has caused much unnecessary hardship for family members wanting to take care of their own. With early childhood development being a priority of the department, subsidies for 59,000 children have been provided through ECD conditional grant, and the 593 ECD centers that are expected to benefit from the ECD maintenance grant is something that the ACDP supports, and any efforts in regard to this area. We are, however, concerned that increasing access to childcare and protection through adoption services only, while this is critically important, will not be enough to protect vulnerable children, and we call on the department to approach Treasury on this issue. We also call on the Minister to ensure accredited adoption agencies with known track records of facilitating legitimate, successful overseas adoptions are not penalized or treated with suspicion, as this has caused unnecessary pain and suffering for children, especially children with disabilities who are being kept from loving families ready to receive them. Targets set by the department to decrease cases of gender-based violence are also a cause for concern, as they've not been achieved. And while we note that the department plans to increase the number of people accessing GBV command center services by 10%, we are doubtful that this response will make a big enough difference. And the department has also not made it clear how they plan to achieve this increased access to command centers. The targets of the department appear to focus to some degree on responding. However, prevention, protection, care and support are noticeably absent. If this is a national priority, then Treasury must again get involved, realistically appropriating the funds that are needed. Efforts to strengthen care and support services to families by providing training to 9 provinces on teenage parenting are to be applauded, but anti-substance abuse plans and interventions pertaining to people with disabilities are cursory. And the budget allocation for substance abuse, for example, is only 72 million, and in the face of such high prevalence of substance abuse and the devastating consequences, this is unthinkable. We see that 305.3 million has been allocated for social worker scholarships. This is good. The ACDP hopes that the new social worker employment grant will also assist in increasing the employment of the much needed social work graduates. The ACDP regrets the anxiety caused by the failure of the department to meet deadlines regarding new arrangements for the paying of grants, and while this was unacceptable, we do appreciate the enormous efforts that have gone into averting a total catastrophe and the fact that things are now moving in the right direction. We also note SASSA has aligned its annual performance plan with the Constitutional Court's orders and has provided clear timeframes and costing of the implementation of the court orders. The ACDP calls on the Minister to ensure that the department properly monitors every phase of the CPS phasing out and the phasing in of the new system, and you will need to be on it constantly.
Thank you, Honourable Member.
And I will leave you in suspense as to how we will vote. Thank you.
The Honourable Joste.
Thank you, Honourable Chairperson. Honourable Chairperson, honourable members, guests in the gallery. Cash transfers today is a powerful developmental tool. Its benefits include reducing immediate poverty, increasing the health and educational outcomes of children, stimulating the local economy, and empowering women and reducing inequality. Currently, 95% of the social development budget is allocated to social grants. This translates to almost 176 billion being allocated to 18 million grant beneficiaries by 2020. The financial value of grants have increased by 8.2% over the medium term. Maar wat beteken hierdie syfer vir mense wat afhanklik is van sosiale toelaag? Alhoewel die geldelike waarde van sosiale toelaas toegeneem het, kan mense eintlik minder met hierdie geld koop. En die rede daarvoor is die swak ekonomie, die hoë werkloosheidssyfer en inflasie op kos. The Paksa food basket is a basket of food women in poor households try to buy every month, has increased with 130 rand in the last year. It now costs 2,053 rand a month. This food basket will keep family members alive, but it is not nutritionally complete. The Paksa minimum nutritional basket for the same family will cost 4,452 rand. So what this means is that poor families are underspending on food by 52% every month. So verbeel jouself 'n bord kos en dan elke keer as jy wil eet, haal jy eers helfte daarvan af. Dit is wat op die oomblik gebeur in arm gesinne. En wat meer is, die kos wat oorbly op die bord is hoofsaaklik stysel. Dit is nie omdat ma's nie weet wat gesonde kos is nie. Dit is doeteenvoudig omdat daar nie genoeg geld in die huis is vir gesonde kos nie. This has devastating consequences. Earlier this month, it was revealed in a parliamentary question that 46,294 children below the age of 5 have been admitted to hospital in the last 3 years with severe acute malnutrition. 4,902 of these children died. That is 136 children died every month in the last 3 years of malnutrition-related causes. Why is this happening? It is happening because we are expecting mothers to feed their children with 380 rand. Toe ek verlede jaar vir die minister vra, maar hoekom is die toelaag net 380 rand? Het sy gesê, omdat dit al geld is wat beskikbaar is. Agbare voorsitter, hoe kan dit wees dat in hierdie land daar nie geld is om die kindertoelaag te verhoog nie, maar daar is geld vir ministers om in luxury te bly, om 'n grand car te ry en om rond te vlieg?
Round up in 1 minute.
Ongeveer 30% van Suid-Afrikaners se kinders word blootgestel aan wanvoeding. 'n Skokkende 20% van hulle is stunted. Ons weet ook vandag dat as hierdie kinders blootgestel word aan wanvoeding in die eerste 2 jaar van hulle lewe, is hierdie skade permanent. Hierdie kinders gaan sukkel op skool, hulle gaan siek wees en hulle gaan as volwassenes baie minder verdeel. For this reason, the DA has identified savings in the budget and we will be proposing an increase in the child grant with a specific focus on the 0 to 2 age group this year. Because when the DA governs this country nationally, every mother will have enough money in her pocket to feed her children properly. This budget, with a child grant of 380 rand, is not a developmental tool. It limits the future benefits of cash transfers and it does not protect against vulnerability.
Thank you. The Honorable Malchas.
Thanks, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Chairperson, members of Parliament, our Minister, the officials of the department and our guests in the gallery, I greet you. It does give me great pleasure to participate in this debate, which takes place before the ANC Policy Conference in June 2017, that will discuss as it is discussed by the ANC branches. At this moment, the, open quote, increase access to 4-year early childhood development and encourage workplace early childhood development centers, which will, close quote, which will enrich our ANC resolutions taken in 2007 to develop a comprehensive strategy for ECD and the 53rd National Conference of the ANC to accelerate the implementation of comprehensive ECD program and to ascertain if we are still on track as the ANC, and also take into considerations the proposals in the National Development Plan to ensure integrated services, including nutritional support to expectant mothers and children up to the 5th year of their lives. And I'm just iterating what Minister said in her speech earlier. Chairperson, ECD is an important program to lift our children and community out of poverty. The early years are critical in a child's life for the acquisition of concepts, skills, and attributes that lay the foundation for lifelong learning, which include the acquisition of language, perception, motor skills required for learning to read and write, basic numeracy and skills, problem solving, and the love of learning. With quality ECD provision in South Africa. The education efficiency would improve because of the basic concepts and attitudes for successful learning as a child enters the formal system of education, thus reducing their chances of failure. Therefore, Chairperson and the public at large, the purpose of ECD is a comprehensive support for the holistic development of young children and their families, both in rural and urban areas. I'd like to applaud the Minister and the Department for the good work they are doing, which includes in this financial year the following: the improvement of ECD services by improving the National Integrated Implementation Plan on ECD policy, provision to subsidize 59,110 children through the ECD conditional grant, approving the infrastructure plan, and 593 ECD centers to benefit from the ECD maintenance grant. And I'd like to thank the Minister that you are catering for the deep rural areas, as you are saying. But let us look at the farms too. Because of the legacy of the past, it is still feeling that neglect. In the words of our past president and icon, Comrade Oliver Reginald Tambo said, "The children of any nation are its future. Therefore, it's important that we should nourish and nurture our children who are the future leaders of tomorrow." And this program will do just that, to contribute to the holistic education of the child in its totality. Chairperson, today, my heart goes out to all parents whose children were raped and brutally murdered. My heartfelt condolences to the parents in Elsie's River and Buffalo Flats, East London, whose little kids were murdered horrifically. Thus far, Minister, it was reported 19 kids were murdered in this period. I make appeal to our communities to stop this phenomenon. The SASSA Address 2017 of our Honorable President Jacob Zuma has also highlighted that government will continue to work with society in fighting social ills that affect our communities, such as drugs and substance abuse. Government will prioritize the provision of treatment and prevention services. In understanding the South African context, it is important to acknowledge that substance abuse is a global problem. It is in South Africa and beyond its borders. Substance abuse is a major contributor to crime, poverty, reduced productivity, unemployment, dysfunctional family life, political instability, the escalation of chronic diseases such as HIV and AIDS, and tuberculosis, injury and premature death. The most widely abused substance remains alcohol, with dagga usage surpassing other provinces as well as the national average. Research indicates that investment in prevention costs lesser than the prevention costs lessens the prevention cost lessens the use of substance abuse than treatment when it comes to substance abuse itself, as the Minister stated within her speech. As a result, 3 campaigns on substance abuse will be held during this financial year by the Department of Social Development, which are as follows: conducting of a national anti-substance abuse awareness campaign,
Complete in
which
1 minute.
includes dialogue. Also, the submission of the draft National Drug Master Plan. And I'd like to say to the Minister and to the department that they should look at the oversight recommendations that we did on the Central Drug Agency during the annual report and see what can be implemented and what is not implemented. In conclusion, today is Africa Day. Let us celebrate the achievements of people and nations across the continent and share best wishes for a bright future. In conclusion, on substance abuse, it is rife within our communities, and I would like to make an appeal to all communities that it's only you and you alone that could rid your communities of the scourge. And you know why I
Thank
say
you, Honourable
so.
Member.
We support the budget vote. I thank you.
The Honourable Wilson.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, Minister Dlamini is a gift that just keeps on giving and giving and giving. At every portfolio meeting, every scoper calling, and at the answering of every written question, she just keeps on giving. The members of the ANC benches can scream and shout all they please, and indeed they should be practicing for the opposition benches in 2019. But thanks to their minister, her maladministration, CPS shenanigans, and her total disregard for the poor, she is slowly giving the union buildings to the DA on a silver platter.
Order, Chair.
Honourable members, let us not drown the member.
Honourable Chair.
Honourable Khatebe.
Honourable Chair, will Honourable Wilson survive if the park can be closed?
Okay, take your platform.
Childish. We have debated the SASSA and CPS shambles at length. But today, let us look at other issues that the poor in South Africa should know. Let us discuss where taxpayers' money, which should be supporting the poor, is actually going. How about the tender awarded to Azandi Consulting CC? This company is being paid 10 million rand per month to conduct door-to-door surveys in identified wards, print questionnaires, and to design and implement project plans. 10 million rand that could go for another 26,000 child grant beneficiaries. It could increase current grants on a monthly basis. What about that lifeline you talked about, Minister? It could have also employed a lot more social working graduates.
Wilson, point of order.
Honourable House Chair, who comes Mefro Wilson Payakwat?
Honourable.
Who comes Payakwat?
Then, of course, you've got Selena Media. A firm awarded a 44.4 million rand tender to provide media plans, events, and communication services for 1 year. An amount that could have provided an extra 9,700 child grants per month. Why is the department outsourcing its functions? Why is the money being wasted on expensive consultants? What are the people employed in this department actually doing? And Chair, let's talk travel. Goodness me, 16 million rand on overseas travel and 105 million rand on local travel for the Department of Social Development in 1 year. Our jet-setting minister jets off with a team of no less than 7 DSD delegates at a time and spends 65 days in New York and Washington at a cost of 8.5 million rand in 1 year. The VIP car and the transport hire for the minister and her allies was 1.8 million rand alone.
Chair, she's killing our eardrums. Can she really speak down? She's killing our eardrums.
Honourable member, take.
I have not even started on the trips to Geneva, Bangladesh, Nigeria, Ethiopia, Venice, London, amongst all the others. Is this conduct benefiting of a minister who is tasked with serving the poor, globe-trotting with friends while thousands of children are dying of starvation? This is not Happy Africa Day for those children. It is not. They are starving. These are the priorities of our honorable minister. The minister cannot tell us that she cares for the poor and vulnerable in this country, nor can she claim to care about radical economic transformation when she ensured that a company fronting its BEE
On a point of order, House
status
Chair.
Honorable members, you are drowning a speaker.
You must listen.
You are drowning a speaker. Honorable Kopane.
Apparently, the ANC, they don't even recognize you on the chair. But I'm not surprised they don't respect any leadership. But can you please ask them to list, not to drown my speaker, please?
Honorable members, please. Honorable members, Honorable Khatebe, Honorable Khatebe, Honorable Ndaba, Honorable Ndaba, please let us allow the member to continue and conclude.
Chairperson, I rise on a point of order, Rule 92. May I address you?
Honorable members, please. Honorable Laput. Honorable Kotas.
May I address you? Chairperson, the Honourable Manana and the Honourable member next to her called DA members sellouts, which again is racial. Yes, yes you did. I saw you. I saw you. I saw her and I heard her. It's unparliamentary and you must make her withdraw and the member next to her as well. Thank you.
Honorable members, you are delaying us unnecessarily. Honorable members, please. Honorable members, please, we are delaying us for no apparent reason. There's absolutely no apparent reason. There are committee meetings when you can do what you are doing, but not here. Please, honorable members, let us do that. Honorable Ndaba and Honorable Manana, did you say that? We are going to work on it and that. Proceed, honorable member.
Thank you, Chair.
No, hang on. On a point, Chair, what you say you're going to work on it? Can you please clarify?
No,
Because quite frankly, they are deliberately misleading this House. They're lying to you and they're
course.
lying to us. They called honourable members sellouts and they must stand up and withdraw.
honorable members, just hold on. Honorable Ndaba, Honorable Raputi, please. Honorable Mohosi, please. We are wasting our time unnecessarily. The honorable members said that they didn't say what you are saying they said. Then we are going to work it out because
Point of order, Chair.
the members said that they didn't say that, we didn't hear them, and then it's not on record on our side. It's a difficult thing.
They're liars.
Chairperson.
Lwesihlanu kanti amabhounce asebenza makunjani ngoba ngibona sathi isikhathi sama-bouncer manje. You must call a bouncer and take all those ANC out now. We are sick and tired now. They are wasting our time.
Honorable members, no, I think the whip party must deal with it.
Point of order, Chair.
No.
Chairperson,
Just,
Honorable Noma Rashia is just calling me that I'm wearing the Gupta's jacket.
Honorable
Kaula. Amgiyena unoma Rashila, Honorable Kaula. Please. She
no.
must withdraw what you say now. She must withdraw now.
Mhlonishwa Kaula. Honorable Manana. I know that it's towards the end of a day. We are exhausted already. Let us avoid doing things that are not correct. Okay. The party must always deal with this issue. We mustn't find presiding officers struggling for members who are supposed to be disciplined by the party.
So, Chair?
Honorable member, right at the door, and Honorable Raputi, and your friend, Honorable member, I think we are causing problem. Is unnecessary for you to do so. Is that just unnecessary, is uncalled for. Let us allow the honorable member to proceed.
Chairperson, are you going to allow the Honorable Manana to lie to this House and act in a coward way? She's a coward and a liar. Are you going to allow her to carry on like that?
Honorable member, you are putting us down again.
She is a coward and a liar.
No.
You are a liar yourself.
Honorable members, we have accepted this.
Unparliamentary. How can you say that?
Honorable Ndaba.
I can say it because it's the truth. She's a liar and a coward.
Honorable Ndaba.
You! Coward!
Honorable members, please, just hold on.
She's shocking.
We are delaying us.
She's shocking.
It's not necessary.
Manana.
It's not necessary. The whipper is dealing with the matters. We must allow the member to conclude. Let us not use offensive language. We are not allowed to do so. We mustn't do anything that undermines the decorum of the House. We must just do it according to the rules of the Parliament. Because if members, they simply do the way they're doing, we are making it difficult for us to move on. We can't leave here at 7 because you are wasting our time. Can never be accepted to do so. Honorable Kaula, we have heard what you have said. Honorable Manana is withdrawn on that. Just hold on. Honorable Waters, let us allow flowing of a debate and close the debate.
Okay. We will be taking the matter further, Chair, so you know.
No, that's fine.
And we're not going to allow anyone to lie to this House.
Okay, now we'll take that. Of course, colleagues, there are procedure and processes. Honorable Waters. Honorable Waters. Honorable Waters. Honorable
Chairperson, usile lo muntu.
Sengwa.
On a point of order.
Omnyama umfazi ucabanga ukuthi khishi igele yakhe.
Honorable Ndaba. Honorable Khatebe. Please allow the platform. There are processes in Parliament. If you are not satisfied, there are processes that you have to follow. We have already taken 20 minutes wasting time because it can't be right that we do so. The whipper is here to do their work. We wouldn't do their work really. Honorable Shlengwa, let us close it.
Honorable Chairperson, may I address you, Chair? I'll be the first one. I'll be the first one to admit, yes, that there's been a lot of banter in this debate. I'll be the first one to admit that there's been a lot of banter in this debate and maybe we have gotten carried away. But my plea is, even when the chair is trying to address the House, for members to howl the chair, I don't think that's correct. Secondly, Chair, we were told there were guests here, bring a girl child to work. Really, I'm not sure that we're projecting an image which is consistent with what we're supposed to be doing. The banter may be fun, but I really think we are doing ourselves an injustice by overstretching that kind of ban. I'm just pleading, Chair, that all of us sober up, myself included, but it's getting out of hand, Chair.
Okay. Honorable members, I just think I just think that we are doing it badly. We mustn't conduct ourselves this way. The whipper is here to request you. Once you are requested by the whip, please listen to them. Just listen to them because they are here to maintain order. Honorable member, take your platform.
Thank you, Chairperson. The Minister cannot say that she claims to care about radical economic transformation when she ensured that a company fronting its BEE status received a multi-billion rand tender for grant payments. Whose side is the Minister really on? And Minister, you talked about the scourge of violence, and we agree with you. It is a scourge in this country, and we are faced with a tragedy. However, those who are victims of this scourge cannot get help without social workers to assist them through this trauma. But there are so few. You keep talking about a social worker per ward. Where are they? We can't be paying contractors 10 million rand a month and not have social workers. The only person who said grants must be paid is the court. We are, however, waiting to hear if you have to pay the costs or not, because it was you who both misled the portfolio, the House, and the country, and you created the chaos. We look forward to that judgment. You talked about a savings plan for beneficiaries. How, Minister, can we have a savings plan for beneficiaries when they cannot survive on what they already get? What are they to save? You talked only 0.8% of addicts can get assisted in South Africa. 0.1% of addicts can get assisted in government facilities in South Africa. Minister, you gave us a whole 2 lines on drug abuse, and the budget is pathetic. But we pay millions on your VIP protection for your children. Honorable Karpen Makotsi, all that I can say to you is, thank you for the history lesson, but my question to you is, what has this government done in the last 21 years? And I thank you for all the quotes on O.R. Tambo and the history lesson. I can't help wonder, though, what are we going to quote on President Zuma one day? Perhaps it's just, let's all go and take a shower.
Honorable Sonodi.
Ke a leboha modulasetulo e re ke ise hlompho ho ditho tsa lekgotla la ketsamolao ke ise hlompho ho minister wa rona ke ise hlompho ho basebeletsi ba lefapha la social development ke ise hlompho ho baeti ba rona ba teng mo galaring ke re ho bona ke a le dumedisa ka letsatsi la botjhaba la maAfrika. Modulasetulo ke tla re pele ke kena speeching sa ka ke ne ke batla hore ke arabe tsena tse etsahatseng ka hara ntlo ena ho etsetsa hore like sa qeta speech fela re tla be re tsebile hore re ba arabile. Chairperson, mandicaphule intetho yamakhumsha ibithethwa nguGeorge Bernard Shaw ethi le ntetha ndiyithetha ndiyisa kuminister ukuthi azayimamele kakuhle. Let me quote, ithi le ntetha, never to wrestle with a pig in the mud. You get dirty and beside the pig likes it. Close quote. We are not surprised, honorable members, by the attitude that has just been displayed here. Honorable Masango and Honorable Wilson, it is the responsibility of the Portfolio Committee to hold the executive accountable. However, you failed to inform this House that you missed the opportunity of doing that because all the time you tackle the man, not the ball. One thing I can say to you as DA, you are dreaming about 2019 and dreams last for 10 seconds. You are dreaming for 2019 and dreams last for 10 seconds. Niqhelile into yokuzingela niphethe ityiwa. Xa nisiza kwi-portfolio committee yonke imihla niza nizingela niphethe ityiwa ningayithethi i-substance yento eyenzekayo kwi-portfolio committee. Mamkhawula, iza kunceda into yokuba uze ekomitini uzozivela indaba. Khona manje awuyisapoti le budget ithetha ngemali encane kodwa uthi asikhulume nge-3,500 izovelaphi leyo mali ungasapoti le ikhona manje. Hayi ke i-CPF yona asiyazi community police forum pha kwi-social development le ubukhuluma ngayo. Minister, there are things that warrant a response, but there are those that not need to be responded to. You don't need to give dignity to some of the responses some of the questions that have been asked here. Honorable Wilson, you said Chairperson and Honorable Mohotsi, you asked them a question, what has this government done? You must buckle on. You'll get exactly what the government has done. This government that is led by the ANC. Let me get to my speech. You must listen very carefully. Let me join my fellow countrymen and countrywomen in condemning the escalating violence against women and children in our country. As a country, we need to come to a realization that gender relation in this country runs deep. Gender discrimination has excluded or subordinated women to be more and more dependent on men, thus make them to be vulnerable and be in the mercy of men. And apartheid has resulted in African women being the exploited and poverty-stricken section of our population. Chairperson, women should not fear to walk free in the streets without being assaulted. We should feel safe, free of violence. Chairperson, allow me to clarify a few important facts about the reality of what we inherited in 1994 about the coverage of social security system in our country. We inherited a fragmented social security system that was not based on comprehensive coverage of the population as a whole, but mainly it was based for whites. Later, it was extended as a charity thing to other races, but still, it was not enough. The democratic government was faced with a huge task of developing an approach that had to transform the existing system. It has to change the current programs and develop new strategies of social assistance that will benefit the entire population based on the circumstances and needs. Therefore, the whole welfare system was restructured into an equitable and a non-racial one. Chairperson, it is a fact that in 1997, the white paper on the department stated that only about 2.8 million people in South Africa received grants before 1994. But currently, more than 17 million recipients of social grants. Fiscal Incidents estimates that 76% of government spending on social grants is received by the poorest 40% of population. Honorable Wilson, that's a fact. The positive and redistribution effect of this program is widely acknowledged. Grants amount have increased and ages of those who qualify have been extended over the years since 1994. It is surprisingly that, Honorable Joste, you will come here and talk about the child support grant, yet you forget that the predecessor before us, they never provided assistance to children. Honorable Chairperson, in February 2017, we had about 3.295 million beneficiaries of grant for old persons. We had about 1.607 million disability grant recipients. We have about 180 recipients of war veteran grants. We have about 145,000 foster grants recipients. We have 161 recipients of grant in aid. We have 12.092 million recipient of child support grant. We also have a temporary grant awarded to people in need, and that is called a grant in aid. Though it's surprisingly that every time they will always come in this house and talk about food parcels when there are elections. They are forgetting to tell the nation that there is a grant in aid that assists homes that are in distress. You fail to tell the nation that they must go and get those food parcels. Every day in South Africa, food parcels are dished out.
Chairperson, on a point of order.
Chairperson.
Are people that are contesting by-elections or people that are voting in by-elections, are they distressed? Because the point was that food parcels are dished out at election time. Are those all distressed citizens?
Order.
Can she clarify that?
Order. Continue.
How shall change? I have said it that there are statements that do not warrant a response, and I'm not going to respond on that. Chairperson, listen, Honorable Wilson. Here is a fact. Chairperson, research done by the South African Labour and Development Research Unit in the University of Cape Town indicates that grants are well targeted at the very poor households and that they are central in alleviation of poverty over post-apartheid years. It's a fact.
Point of order.
Moreover, the size of the
Point
grant...
of order, Chairperson. Ngifuna ukubuza. Ngabe kuyiqiniso ukuthi kuthiwa abantu khona stupid la. Honorable Pengu uthi stupid honorable Lizek. Ngempela kwenzakalani lana?
Mhlonishwa.
Ade ngishilo ukuthi bizana ama-bouncer. Akhiphe laba bantu lana.
Honorable members. Mhlonishwa ukhawula. Azange simuzwe lo khuluma ngayo. Nimzwile siyacela masicela ilunga ke leParliament ningasebenzisa amazwi amabi. Let us continue. Continue.
Thank you, Chairperson. Moreover, the size of grant for older persons is sufficient to lift many households out of the poorest quintile. Furthermore, the Center for Social Development in Africa at the UJ shows that the grant has had an impact on women's empowerment in very poor communities. According to UNICEF, the grant has a positive impact on school attendance and health care. Research by the Department of Economics at the University of Stellenbosch indicates that the number of children whose parents reported that their children had gone hungry the previous year has declined from 31% in 2002 to thanks to the significant expansion of the social grade. So, Honorable Wilson and Honorable Joste, selective amnesia is really unromantic. Chairperson, lastly, it is a fact that we took over a very unusual system. It is critical that we honestly face up to the extent of the problems confronting our countries. You said you want to know in 23 years what we have done. Listen very carefully. We must bear in mind that they are not going to be solved overnight. They are not quick solutions because the socio-economic issues runs deep and resources are limited. Nevertheless, the ANC-led government has built an extensive and progressive social security system.
Thank you very much.
It is a fact that social assistance enables South Africans to actively pursue for a jobs. I support the budget.
Honorable Minister, come and reply. Honorable members, let us not drown Minister. Ima. Honorable members, let us allow the Minister to reply. Let us not drown our members, because if we drown them, we don't hear very well what we are saying. Let us make that as a request. It's late already. Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Today, I felt like I grew up in the days of Joseph Goebbels or Comical Ali, where people would repeat something continuously up until it is believed. Secondly, the issue of 6 billion it comes from MTEF report that I got from the department. So shouting here and saying all sorts of things without having proper information is a problem. Uyabona abanye kuzwakala ngathi they are stalking us. And if you are having people that are stalking us, they must give you proper information. Yes, you talk about areas where we sleep. It is only a stalker that will know where you sleep. But also, if you steal information, you get half the truths and half the lies. And therefore, you must never allow yourself to be used by people who want to give wrong information. No, you must go and support that judge from South Coast. The judge you supported at South Coast, and the way you look at us, you must go and correct that. That attitude must be corrected. You know nothing about the poor.
Honorable members, allow the minister. There are invited guests who want to hear the minister. If they want to hear the minister, let us allow the minister to be heard. Minister, take the platform.
So one other thing, if you've written to the public protector, wait for the report. Don't continuously shout about something that you have reported to the public protector. And it means you don't even believe what you said to the public protector. But also, bazoqhubeka balwe bathi okay i-grant mayikhokhwe eSouth Africa. Kodwa uma ngabe sekuthiwa kuzoyiwa la kuhlala khona abantu bethu khona kuyokhokhwa i-grant kuzoba nzima, because ongqiwa angeke bakwazi ukuthi baphinde bakontrole imali ye-grant. And i-CPS angikhulumeli akubona abangani bami, but they have registered more than 80% correctly of our grant recipients. Yes, you must give due where it is deserved. And we are paying our people properly because of the work they have done. You can say you, ha, ho, bayazi ababekhokhela abantu imali ihamba ngama Land Rover ikhokhwa ucash beyintshontsha ibhekile ukuthi babe intshontsha kanjani. At least uCPS uyikhipha emshinini imali akayibali kanje na intshontsha na iqeda imali yakahulumeni. Inina masela amakhulu ukuntshontsha ngiyakwazi nikujwayele. Ngiyaphinda ngithi indlela eniphatha ngayo nifuna ukusebenzela ukuthi
niqamba amanga njengoba nijwayele nibe sophisticated khona nizodida abantu bakithi baphinde bavotele nina siyotholana esikhaleni kwaNtombela. And le mali esishoyo ukuthi izokhokhwa over the MTEF period is an investment to the country. And uma ngabe nikhuluma ngongxiwa babaleni bonke
Honourable
nalaba
member.
benu babaleni
Member, please.
the 4 families that are rich, you must
Honourable
count
Minister.
all of
Honourable
them.
Minister,
I
please
thank you,
conclude.
Chairperson.
Thank you, honourable members.
Sihlalo. Minister kasho ukuthi izothatha kanjani imali leyaziwayo.
Honourable members, let us conclude.
Kunale mali le ebithethwa ngongamthetho. Akasitshela izokhokhwa kanjani. Lana
Honourable
airtime
members,
nogesi.
we are not out yet. Why are you standing?
Yeah.
Why are you standing? What? Hlala phansi. Hlala phansi. No. Honourable members, let us thank all our invited guests who attended this important budget vote on social development. Thank you very much for coming. Parliament belongs to you, and I think we have enjoyed the discussion that is taking place in the chamber. Honourable members, that concludes the debate and the business of the plenary. The mini plenary now rise. Thank you very much, all of you.